Hi, comic book fans, and welcome to another suddenlycomics.com video. It's a Monday, so it is the price variant show. Alan and I are repeating what we did last week because we enjoyed it so much. So we have both got three independent series we're going to show you. We've just done this on Alan's channel, and there was some great stuff. Alan picked some really good ones, actually, which I really liked. We're going to be doing three each on my channel, and we're going to get straight into it. So, Alan, what's your first independent series?
Okay, so I'm trying to keep it good girl art in this. So there's going to be a bit of a theme, good girl art. And the first one is it's just three comics, so it's an easy one to pick up, and it's actually very affordable, totally underrated, and it's an awesome book. Rascals in Paradise.
Never heard
and
of it.
It's like, it's kind of magazine size, and it's Jim Silk is the guy who created it, and he did the art for it. And it's just really wonderful. Beautiful artwork. So if you like the artwork of the cover, that's the way it is on the interior. It's all done like this. It's just that high-end art style.
Is this Dark Horse?
Yeah, it's Dark Horse. Yeah, you can actually pick up, there's three in the series. Yeah, 10-15 bucks for the whole series, and it is beautifully illustrated. It is just so insane. So it is sort of like Indiana Jones meets good girl art is a good way to describe it. So they kind of go on an adventure. There's a bit of sexiness, and it's just kind of fun. It's just a lighthearted story. They end up, doing like the whole like Tomb Raider kind of part, and they go on little adventures, and it's a complete story. So it's like it's 3 books long. So this is the first one. And you'll notice, like, the artwork is just fabulous. It's just really great artwork.
Great.
I'm not sure if you can.
When did these come out?
Good question. I'm thinking like in the 92. Yeah, I was going to say early 90s. Yeah, early 90s. So 92. So this is number 2. Just really beautiful. Like, you can see what I mean by good girl art.
That's a nice cover.
So this is kind of. So if you think about Indiana Jones, there's like that, the guy that rips the guy's heart out, the voodoo kind of, not voodoo, but, temple priest kind of thing, so this is the good girl art version of that. So, and then we got, the last one, just really great, sexy, kind of fun.
Good pick. I don't know that at all. I'm going to check those out.
Definitely worth checking out. It's a very beautifully well illustrated story, and it's fun. It's not like nothing too complicated, nothing too like it is what it is.
Right, so my first one here, this is in your program, I showed a sort of series that I picked up. It was on my pull list back in the 90s, just before I stopped, before the kids came along and I stopped doing comics for a few years. Mm-hmm. This is another one that I had on my pull list. This is, you'll know this, I think. This is Strangers in Paradise.
Oh, yes.
This is Terry Moore. And this was the first Strangers in Paradise series. This is a creator-owned, so Abstract, the publisher here, Abstract, is Terry Moore's publishing company that he uses for publishing Strangers in Paradise. It's basically a love story. So it's two women, Francine and Katchu, and it's about their adventures and their sort of relationship. It's really well written. It was originally planned it was going to be a newspaper strip, but he found it too constraining working within the newspaper strip, and therefore he sort of started doing it as a comic. Really great artwork. I do like Terry Moore's artwork. He tells the stories, they've got emotion, they've got a bit of humor with them. I love some of the covers. It was very successful when it first came out, as you can see on this cover here. 4 Eisner nominations, 2 Harvey nominations. Great cover with Katchu on the cover, looking annoyed as she usually does. Another great cover. Some of these were done in foil. This one is number 6, and it's got a gold foil cover on it. You know, we're in the 90s, Alan. So
yeah. You have to have your gold foil.
Another great cover. Some of these covers I just absolutely love. Another great cover here with Katchu as some sort of angel figure. And then the last of the first series. This is Terry Moore. Goodness. Again. Then it went over to Image under the Homage title. So it then started again back at issue 1. So this was issue 1 with Image, but Terry Moore didn't really like working for other people, and it wasn't long before he'd gone back to his own publishing company. He went back to Abstract Studios, where it stayed basically. So again, there's quite a history of Strangers in Paradise. A couple of years ago, Terry Moore actually did the 25th anniversary of Strangers in Paradise, and he brought it together with some of his other creations. He does another series called Echo, and the sort of 25-year one brings together all the characters from what he calls is the Terryverse. So there we go. That's my first indie series, Strangers in Paradise by Terry Moore. If you've never read any of them, get a trade paperback or something, read them. They're great fun, told with real emotion and some great humor and real characters, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to pick up issue number 1. It's a really pricey book. It's hard to get. Yeah. It's really hard to get. Do you have it?
No, not the original first one. The first one I got was that first one I showed you, which is the first one of the Abstract series. But I think there's an
earlier series,
4-issue series before this one. I think.
Yeah, I read the 4-issue series, so I was like, oh, I should really pick it up. And then I saw the prices, and maybe not.
Very low print runs. That's why.
They're really hard to find, actually. Very cool series, though. Very cool. I'll show you one that you probably know. If you know me, you'd know that I have to show this at some point. It's like kind of the book that I always show, and it's Zombie Tramp.
Oh, it's Zombie Tramp. I was wondering how long we'd take before we got to Zombie Tramp.
Yeah. I can't disappoint. You know, I have to show Zombie Tramp. So this is Dan Mendoza that created. He's the artist creator. You know, and think of sexy zombies. That's pretty much all you need to know. You know, it's like, you know, gratuitous nudity, not meant for kids, lots of zombie action, like where zombies are literally like, she's actually, what happened, like the initial story is that she goes to this house where it's kind of like a rich man's house, and he brings in a bunch of prostitutes. So she's like a prostitute, okay? And what he's doing is, you know, you think it's going to be like some kind of orgy, sex scene kind of situation, but it isn't. It isn't about that. It's about his son is a zombie. So he's basically taking these prostitutes and feeding them to his son. Well, this character, a Zombie Tramp, Jenny Bell, basically she, instead of becoming another victim in the traditional sense where she just dies and gets eaten, she gets like some spirit inside of her that enables her to basically be kind of like a zombie, but maintain a lot of her human kind of, you know, understandings and capabilities. So the cool thing is she can get ripped apart. She gets ripped apart a lot, actually. Her arms fall off, her legs fall, you know, she's just always getting like mangled. But when she eats somebody, she gets back, you know, her body, you know, body parts and stuff.
So do they grow again, or do they all just come?
Just comes together, you know. It's like, it's not like it grows back like, you know, Deadpool style or anything like that. No, it's more just ta-da, I'm back to normal again. But it's a cool series. It's up to like almost 90 in the series. There was actually 3 series. The first series, which is this book, very rare, almost impossible to find. I think there's maybe only 5 or 6 on the census to show you how rare they are. And the second series is still really rare. So there was 3 in the first series, 4 in the second series, and then the last series is ongoing. And there's actually a bit of controversy because around issue 50, 55, Dan Mendoza was kind of fell apart with Action Labs, which is the producer of Zombie Tramp. And they basically fell apart, and it was different artists and creators that were involved with Zombie Tramp. But just recently, Dan Mendoza got the rights back and is producing his version of Zombie Tramp. So there's like 2 56s basically, where it's like your own things. And the cool thing is, it seems like they're both going on parallel. So there's almost 2 different publishers producing Zombie Tramp. It's really odd. So Zombie Tramp, very interesting series. If you like sexy girls and zombies, this is my pick for that. So yeah, that's Zombie Tramp.
Right. Okay. Well, I've got a not totally dissimilar theme because mine's vampires rather than zombies.
Okay.
You know, it wasn't going to be long before you came up with Zombie Tramp, and it wasn't going to be long before I came up with John Bolton. Right. Mm-hmm. So we've got Interview with the Vampire. This is Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire, issue 1, and artwork by John Bolton and signed by John Bolton.
Oh, wow.
And
nice.
Bolton on here. So unfortunately, in this series, I have previously shown on the Price Variant show The Witching Hour, which John Bolton did the artwork for all the covers of The Witching Hour. But in this one, Interview with the Vampire, unfortunately, he only does issue 1. After that, I'm afraid the artwork deteriorates. So that's issue 2. As you can see, it's nowhere near as good as the artwork on issue 1. So of course, this was made into a film with what's his name?
Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yeah. So however, AMC are now working with Anne Rice on doing, I think, Interview with the Vampire and The Witching Hour.
Well, you heard about Anne Rice, right?
Yeah. No, what's happened? Has she died?
Yeah.
Oh.
She's dead. Yeah, I was going to mention it when you showed it.
Well, they're not working unless she's turned into a zombie writer. They're not working.
They'll bring her back. Don't worry. You're never dead in real life, right? It's just like comics. You know, you come back.
I think her son was involved as well. So hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah, I think she just died recently. It was kind of weird. So I was surprised.
Oh, I hadn't heard that. Okay, that's sad. I mean, she was getting on a bit. She was. I think she was well into her 80s, if not 90.
I was surprised how old she was. I was thinking she was like in her 50s or 60s kind of level. No. But
I think I mean, when this was first written, which is sort of way back in the 80s, I think she was 40 or 50 then.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So time passes, eh? Like it's like.
So,
yeah.
Oh, that's very sad. I hadn't heard about Anne Rice passing on. That is a shame. Anyway, she's got some great creations, and one of them was Interview with the Vampire, which I thought was a great book.
Great story.
Great story. Great, really good. Very original.
The thing I like about her version of vampires is she likes to really establish the rules.
She does.
You know, this is what a vampire is. This is like the traits that they'll have. This is, you know, and all those kind of things. And one of the things that I like, and probably one of my favorite scenes in the Interview with the Vampire movie, it really establishes those rules. It's where they basically adopt a little girl, and they make her into a vampire. and she's getting tired of being a little girl. She's been a little girl for 100 years or whatever amount of time, and she's getting tired of it. And she's like, I don't like my hair. I want to cut my hair. So she cuts her hair, but it goes back instantly. You can't change the way you were when you became a vampire.
Yeah.
And that's such a cool thing. And it's used in such a way that, it really shows that there is a bit of a trouble being a vampire, that there is that, you're almost stuck in your own kind of situation. I think it was really interesting. I really enjoyed the movie. And I also picked up that series. I have both the Vampire Lestat and Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, this was a publisher no longer around called Innovation.
Innovation. They produced a lot of good stuff.
They did.
They also produced Torchy, which is another series that's really great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like Innovation. Okay, I'm gonna just bend over and pick up something.
Go on then. Bye.
Okay, so I meant to grab this. I just sort of left it over there. This is one, that I like the Golden Age. I kind of, babble about it too much probably, but I do love my Golden Age characters, and especially female characters. I always thought the female characters were much more interesting than the Supermans and all those kind of characters, because a lot of the time the women, they don't have powers, and they get themselves into so much trouble, like where they're kind of LARPing as superheroes. They're not really superheroes, and they try to be, and they get themselves into so much trouble doing that. And I think that's interesting. It's much more interesting to me than these kind of perfect characters like Superman. He's perfect. Is he really in trouble? Probably not. You know what I mean? But these female characters always are really in trouble. They're just basically always getting into trouble. So there was a very famous one called, it was a female writer that created this character. Her name is Tarpe Mills. And she created a character called Miss Fury. Okay. And she actually changed her name to Tarpe Mills in order to get published. Because, she originally, the character was published in the newspapers. And then later in the early 40s, they created Miss Fury, right up there.
Yeah.
The comic. But a lot of the stuff was a bit racy. You can see just from this cover alone.
Yeah. It nearly needed some finger editing.
Yeah. Not quite. She she edits herself a little bit. She self-censoring. So recently, Dynamite on Kickstarter did their own kind of Kickstarter campaign to bring back Miss Fury. So these are like the Miss Fury books that they sold. So I bought the whole set. So this is they're all just different covers of the same thing. But the interesting thing about Miss Fury is there's layers to the story. A very complicated story in a way. There's not just one bad guy. It's like layers of maybe 2 or 3 villains even competing with each other. And then you have the superhero mixed in, where they're all trying to struggle to sort of get to a conclusion, where they're trying to all solve a problem or whatever it is. And that I thought that was kind of interesting, much more complicated storytelling. Okay. And the good thing about, and it's a lot of good girl art, obviously. And the interesting thing about Miss Fury is her costume is kind of like Black Panther in a lot of ways, where her costume has kind of got a bit of a voodoo curse associated with it, where if you wear it too much, it kind of can take you over and stuff. So there's kind of that element to Miss Fury.
And she looks a bit Catwoman-y in that one.
Very Catwoman-y. Very Catwoman-y. It's almost like Catwoman was ripped off Miss Fury. And the original Golden Age Miss Furies were all like Alex Schomburg art.
Yeah.
So really great artist involved. And here's the last one.
Nice.
So they're very pretty, very pretty. So just a great series. They've made a bunch of series at Dynamite for Miss Fury, but this is the last one that just came out, where they kind of did this almost like book set, where they were trying to really pay homage to the original style of Tarpe Mills. So that's Miss Fury.
Great. Right, you know this one, Alan. I know you know this one, but he is one of my favorites. And this is, I'm going to show two versions of this guy. You've seen me show this before, but I couldn't resist showing Solar Man of the Atom. Again, this is the gold key version of Solar Man of the Atom. I think this is the first Solar Man of the Atom.
Yeah, it's the first appearance.
Yeah, yep. I know you've got this one. Really great comic from Gold Key. There were some fantastic covers on the Gold Key. So you can imagine why these were selling, because they were on newsstands, and these would have really stood out. You know, the strong reds here. You know, you've got a giant Solar fighting an air jet. You can just see that on the New York newsstand. You know, when it first came out, it would have just flown off, I would have thought. Some fantastic covers. Here's a great one with, this is a classic cover of Solar fighting. Oh, you did a dinosaur. Here's a dinosaur.
I have that one, and I could have used it. I didn't even think about that one.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so sad.
There you go. Really great dinosaur cover. Interestingly, there was a Bongo Comics homage to this. You know, Bongo Comics Radioactive Man. Yeah. I've actually got it. I didn't bring it with me, but they did one with Homer Simpson, almost exact replica of this cover.
I always felt like Radioactive Man was a pure ripoff of Solar.
Yeah.
You know, I always felt like that.
Yeah. Then the sort of Gold Key came to an end, but then he was reinvented by Valiant. So here is Solar Man of the Atom #1 from Valiant. This is actually quite a pricey comic now.
Oh, really? I have it. I have a lot of the, like, I collected during that time. So
check this up the other day. I think this is a sort of 9.8. This is over a $200 comic.
Oh, wow.
So this is Solar Man of the Atom. And again, some nice covers from Valiant. This one's really nice. I love this cover.
Yeah, I have that one as well.
Yeah. So and again, another big red Solar Man of the Atom. And then we Warren Ellis did a bit of this is a really nice cover as well, with the sort of hand of
Creation of Man
from the Sistine Chapel. Man of the Atom, Warren Ellis, and Derek Robertson. Derek Robertson, of course, is the guy who does the covers on All the Boys.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And another one, this is another biblical sort of reference here. We've got the man of the Revelation. So we've got the Last Supper occurring.
Yeah, that's cool. I haven't seen those ones, actually.
No, they're nice, aren't they? So there's just sort of many iterations. That's from Acclaim. The last two were from Acclaim Comics, who sort of did a bit of a revival of Valiant. And Valiant have come back again, haven't they? They're publishing again.
Are they? I didn't know that.
Yeah. You can find some new Valiant stuff out there. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So there we go. That was my last pick. Solar Man of the Atom, in a number of different forms, with Gold Key. I think the Gold Key one is still my favorite. I think they're really great comics. I think Solar Man of the Atom is my favorite Gold Key series, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I actually haven't read it, to tell you the truth. I have it, but I didn't read it. I don't know it that well as a story.
No. Okay. In fact, just if you just want to look at the covers, it's great.
Yeah, so I'll probably, you know, I go out, like, usually what I do is I go online and then I'll read a whole series right in one sitting, right? You know, just so yeah, I'll definitely read it.
Yeah. So there you go. That's my last pick. Right, that was the last one.
That is the last one.
I'm glad you reminded me of that. I would have been very annoyed if I'd got all my Solar Man of the Atoms out and I hadn't shown them. So that's it for next week. We don't know what we're going to be doing next week, but it will be equally interesting. Thanks, Alan, for appearing. I will put a link to Alan's show down below. Go and watch it. And also, Alan has got into trouble. So
don't tell them that.
Oh, sorry. No, Alan has not got into trouble here. But go and watch his last Thursday's video. Right. Okay. That's it for this week, comic book fans. See ya.